So chapter 1, section 3 is line plots. The other half is stem and leaf. Okay. I kind of thought so. So for a lot of you, this is going to be review. So stem and leaf diagrams.
Don't remember that.
So line plots and stem and leaf diagrams. And with these, basically what they both are is they're ways to represent data. So I could list out a whole bunch of numbers, and you could try to look at the numbers and, okay, what are the numbers like? Most of the numbers are near here. But these are two kind of picture ways of putting numbers so that you can real quickly look at it and say, oh, most of the numbers are like this or something like that. So I'm going to say Roman numeral 1 is the line plots. We'll just do that first. And for those, I'm going to start by writing what they are, and then we'll do the picture. The picture will maybe help things make more sense. But basically, they show how many times each data value occurs. So show how many times each data value occurs. So I was thinking, if we were to do, for the example of that, like ages, how old are you guys?
12.
Okay, so we have 12, we have 13. Guess I don't need that long of a line, but you could say like 12 and 13. So we could say, all right, how many 12-year-olds do we have? And I'm probably not going to make that many X's, but we'll say, okay, so we have 5 people, so I'm going to try to make like 5 X's. It's okay if it's not really accurate. If I put you all down, I don't have enough room to do that many X's. So we'll say it's a really small class. So if we had like 5 people that are 12, up above the 12 on the number line, we'd have to put 5 X's. If we only had 2 people that were 13, we would put 2 X's above the 13. And you want to try to get the spacing about the same. You don't want to have like small X's in one place and big X's in the other. You know, that's going to mess up kind of that visual for how many you have of each. I don't know, maybe I should go with like a third for 13. It doesn't really matter, but you could look, and each X stands for one value of that number. So here we have 5 people that are 12, 3 people that are 13. Good? If we were to throw me on there, we'd have to go way, way, way over here to the right. Agreed? And if you have some number that's like way far away from the rest of the data, do you guys remember the name for that number? Outlier. Nice. So outlier. So I'm going to throw that word outlier in here. I'll put a little star by it. So an outlier, that's going to be a number that's far away from the rest of the data. How did I write it here? So data values that are far apart from other values. So data values, or you really probably could just say numbers, that are far away from the rest of the data. And we could have, put all of your ages on that line plot. We could have maybe added in some 14 or 15-year-olds. But as soon as you get somebody that's my age, it's way far away, I'm going to be the outlier. 27. It's a good age.
My dad's 38.
Works for me. So the second part of the notes is a review of the stem and leaf diagrams. So stem and leaf diagrams. This is another way of representing, okay, what numbers do we have? And you can see how many numbers are in different places. I'm going to just start by writing an example. And maybe leave a line or two before you go through and do the actual diagram, because we're going to put in a couple labels. But if I were to have a 4, a 5, and a 6, so I kind of have 2 columns, a narrow column on the left, a wider column on the right. I'm going to have 4, 5, 6 in my first column. Then on the right, my top row is going to be a 7 and a 9. My second row is just going to be a 0. My third row is a 2, a 5, and a 6. So I'll give you a second to copy that down. All right, now from there, can anybody give me one number that's represented by the stem and leaf diagram? How do you remember it? Give you a hint? All the numbers are 2 digits. What's one 2-digit number in there? Go for it. See if you can figure it out. Let's try it this way. One of the numbers is 47. Okay, we'll give you a try. You haven't tried yet. 50 is going to be another number that's in there. Okay. Hank, do you want to?
62.
That enthusiasm, I can't miss that enthusiasm. So if you look at those, for people that aren't catching on, let's do this. So 47, we have the 4 and the 7, that's 47. Then we have 50 is there, and we have 62. So we have that pattern. Now what do we do with the 9, the 5, and the 6? Okay, so what's another number somebody sees? This is tough.
65.
Okay.
Oh.
65, we got a 65. Okay, 65. So look for how he came up with the 65. See if you can get another one. For Tyler?
97.
Nice try. Nice try. Kaya?
66.
66 would be another one. So what we have, maybe I'll point that out, and then we see if we can all get the last one. So we had 62 is one. That's this one. Then we had 65. That's this one. So then we have another color. So we have 66 is that one. So the last number altogether has to be 49. Nice, because we could say, all right, I have a 4 and a here, so that would give me my 49. So a little bit rough. You've seen them before, but kind of how to actually get the numbers out of there a little bit rough, yes? But that's okay. We can work with that. All right, so what we came up with is this. I'll maybe label some stuff, kind of put some things in. Officially, to label them, this part here is called the stem. And the stem is always going to be the first digit, or the first digits. The right side, if there are stem and leaf diagrams, the right side has to be the leaf, or maybe leaves or something like that. And you could think maybe on a stem of a tree you could have more than one leaf. You have more than one numbers there. But that leaf side is just going to be the last digit. So those numbers there are just the last digit. So the leaf is just the last digit. The stem is going to be the numbers before the last digit. So if you were to have something like, let's say, 124, I don't know if I'd mess up my notes with this. I think you don't get this till next year. But 124 would look like this. The 4 is the last digit, so it's all that goes over here on the right side, just the last digit. And then this here is the 1 and 2 in the 124. Then if I wanted to add 127, what would I do to put 127 on there? Yep, I just would put a 7 right there. Agreed? So then I'd have 124, and I'd have 127. But okay, that's just me getting excited. I probably shouldn't have even went there. But okay. So we had the stem, we had the leaf. The leaf is just the last digit. We have that down. Typically, they put them in order. So I'm going to say typically the numbers are in order. And maybe I can actually put it in really both sides. And that left column in the stem, you should start with the small numbers and go smallest to largest. So I have 4, 5, 6 going down vertically. Then on the leaf side here on the right, we always try to put the lowest number close to that line there. So 47, the 7 has to come before the 9. 0 would come before a 1, 2, or 3. The 2 comes before the 5, which comes before the 6. You kind of with me?
Yep.
And if we were to have two of them, like say we had 65 and 65, what I could do is I could get rid of this and I could put a second 5 right there. And it would represent 62, 65, and then another 65. So if you have one number listed more than once, you actually write that in more than once. You feeling okay for those? So a challenge. I'm going to give you some numbers and say, okay, put these in a stem and leaf plot. So maybe I wasn't really putting example numbers in there, but we could say example 2 or example 3. Example. We'll just say example. I would. So put these numbers in a stem and leaf. And I'm going to give you the numbers 18, 27, 14, and 6. See if in the next, I don't know, minute, 10 seconds you can get these things in a stem and leaf. Mark, set, go. So a hint, if you have that stem and leaf, the right-hand side was just the last digit, right? So for these numbers, the last digit has to go on the right. You have to figure out what to do with the left side with the first digit. So use that to guide you. So I'll say that one more time. The hint for the 6 is one digit, so that has to go on the right. The first digit, if you had to put a number in front of a 6 and not change it, it would be a 0. And that's the one that's the really confusing part of it. So. All right, so here's the answer.